Now, another sign that the far-left PC thought police have far too much power. British police are reportedly considering dropping the terms Islamist terrorism and Jihadi when describing acts of terrorism by Islamists because it takes in negative connotations. Instead, the terrorists behind the 2005 London Underground bombing could be called adherents of Osama bin Laden's ideology, like dead set seriously. Gary Hardgrave, I know there's a Muslim police association who's pushing this, but seriously, call it what it is. It is someone within the Islamic faith who has twisted and severely extreme views who thinks that God tells him, Allah tells him to kill for him.
Well, it's not the true teachings of Islam as best I understand it. And so I get what they're complaining about, Chris, to be honest. I get what they're complaining about. I just call them out as what they are. They are terrorists. They are thugs. They are thieves. I feel in every possible way...
Thugs?
I feel in every possible way a sense... Excuse me, I'm just trying to complete my sentence here. I feel in every possible way an understanding about what they're trying to achieve here. People are defaming good Muslims by this kind of conduct, and I think you're going to create a further division and schism in a society. And so what I'm worried about, Chris, frankly, is the fact that this subject has been raised. I just think the language that's used should be about identifying the person as a bad person, not necessarily...
But you want to find out the intent and the motivation, surely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yes, you've got to know why he's done what he's done.
They're twisting Islam. They're twisting Islam.
Correct.
In their application of this sort of
correct.
violence.
Well,
and
call
so
it the way it is.
They need what? A twisted adherent of Islam or a person who believes they're following. And I mean, you know, the Catholics
and Islamic extremists
blowing each other up in Northern Ireland. The Catholic and the Protestants were blowing each other up in Northern Ireland in the 60s and the 40s and the 50s. And I thought that was abhorrent as well. But
Rita,
not all Catholics and not all Protestants.
Rita, set Gary straight. I can't believe he's talking like this.
I'm pretty disgusted, to be honest with you.
I'm
absolutely disgusted that anybody would want to conceal the truth from people who are impacted by terrorism. We've had major terrorist events in the UK where people have died, innocent people have died, and we're more concerned about concealing the truth behind what motivated those attacks in some misguided attempt of togetherness. That's not how you bring about togetherness.
No.
And people are very careful to say Islamist as opposed to a Muslim. An Islamist, by definition, is someone who is a radical extremist.
A radical.
Exactly.
Correct.
So, and let's not pretend
that's not what people hear, though. That's not what people hear.
That is what people hear. And let's not pretend that these links aren't clear. We've had Islamic State commit ethnic genocide. They established a caliphate. Their leader was a religious scholar. So you're telling me you know more about the Islamic faith than the guy who led Islamic State, who's a religious scholar?
Let's give Darren a shot. Let's give Darren a shot. You've both had a go.
Can I just say, I don't think it matters how police describe it.
There's mad people in every religion, Rita. That's all I'm trying to say. There's mad people in every religion. You shouldn't blame all people in that same religion.
Okay, but if it's motive...
No, sorry, that's a straw man argument. I'm not going to cop that. I grew up in a Islamist country that went from being relatively modern and free to becoming backward in the time I was there.
I know you did.
I do not like anybody to be minimising the suffering, because guess who's the biggest victim of Islamist terrorism? Other Muslims. And I don't think you do them any favours by hiding the truth between what motivates that insane behaviour. And it is a religious motivation, and you can tackle that, you can do something about it, but pretending it doesn't exist, I don't think serves anybody.
Okay, let's give Darren a shot.
I haven't said that, though. I haven't said that, Rita. I have not said that you should pretend it doesn't exist. All I've said is you've got to be careful in the way you can...
crazy.
No, I said you've just got to be careful how you construct the language. Now, Islamist is different to Islamic, and it's different to Muslim. I'm just simply saying.
I've never heard terrorism described as Muslim terrorism. I only ever heard
I have.
You have. OK, Darren Barnett, let's give Darren a go.
No, very simply, I just don't think that the language that police use at their press conference is going to change the way that it's reported in the media and ultimately
it's true.
How people... If you see a police and they say the assailant absconded in a northeasterly direction, like there's a whole range of police speak that doesn't make it through the filter to your everyday person in the conversation.
But I've been in newsrooms when a terrorist attack has occurred, both overseas and locally, and there's been a lot of...
describe it as a terrorist attack.
Well, you describe it as a terrorist attack until the police say or a witness says he was yelling, Allahu Akbar, my God is great, my God is great. You've got to tell people what the motivation behind this was.
I agree with you. I'm with Rita on this one.
And that doesn't mean it's a negative connotation on Muslims. You've got to make sure, as a member of the media, as a member of the police force, to make sure that that doesn't follow. I want to move on to something that...
I don't disagree with the honesty, Chris. I just want to be very clear. What I'm trying to say is the language has to be well chosen, that you can't morph it into blaming all Muslims.
OK,
and
of course.
That's the problem we've got, that we're isolating a lot of good Muslims. We're isolating... But it has happened, Rita. It has happened umpteen times. There's been lazy use of the word Islamist and it's become Islamic. I've heard it said, and police have to be careful. And people in public life, like us, have to be careful how we talk about it. All I'm saying is we don't want people to hide away.
OK.
We want people to feel like they're part of the community and take responsibility for that. And one last thing, Chris, I'll say on this. The Federation of Islamic Councils in Australia are enormously tardy when it comes to calling out things that go wrong in other places where people defame their religion by barbarous acts.
Yeah.
It's just simply, they've got to get their act together.
All right.